Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. This is Mr. Castillo here. Today we'll be learning about how to retouch skin, doing a skin retouch like a pro. And we're gonna focus on, or we're gonna use this picture we have here of Henry. It's a picture that I took, and we're gonna retouch his skin. And for this picture, we actually try our best to show the texture on the skin with the type of lighting that we used. Okay, so we're actually gonna try to go against that now. We're gonna try to clean him up and make him look a few years younger. Okay, and try to clean up some of the blemishes on the skin, and so forth and so on. But anyways, for most of the time, when you do skin retouch, one of the things to consider is that you want to be able to keep the detail of the texture of the skin. You want to be able to keep it so it could still look realistic. When you start blurring out and you start taking away the original texture, you'll be able to tell a photograph that was badly retouched because of that. So for this purpose, we're going to use a different technique today, and this technique is called frequency separation. And frequency separation allows us to separate the texture from the color of the photo. So on one layer, we're going to have all the texture, all the detail of the photo, and then on another layer we're gonna have the color of the photo. So you'll start off by duplicating 2 layers. So here we go. And for those that already know how to duplicate layer as a shortcut, it's Command J or Control J on your PC. Okay, so that's copy, doing Control J, layer 1, and then I'm gonna do a copy again, which is layer 1 copy, doing Control J again. So we have that. Let me retitle this again. This is, you're gonna title this low, and you're gonna title this high. Now the reason I'm titling this high and low is because we're gonna do this technique called frequency separation. Frequency separation. And we're gonna use a filter called, let me see, and if I can remember clearly, it's noise, and then you go to dust and scratches. Okay, click on that, and here we have a zoomed in, or it's actually not zoomed in, it's at 100%. We're gonna back up a little bit to see the full face right there. And what we're gonna try to do here is we're gonna try to increase the radius to about 30 to 40 pixels depending on your image. And as you increase it, you're gonna start noticing that it's blurring out. Now, the more you increase it, the more blur it's gonna give it. Okay, and 50 pixels for this photo. We're gonna do, I would say about 45 is fine. Now you still want to keep some of that detail in the face. So you can still see the nose, the definition of the nose, the eyes, the mouth. Okay, so you want to be able to keep some of that detail. So let me just show you something that you wouldn't want to have. See right there, it's no longer looks like a face anymore. It looks more like a, I guess, a completely blurred out face. So you don't want something like this. And every photo has different dimensions in pixels or different resolution in pixels. So there's no set number in this technique, so you have to kind of judge yourself how much is enough, and sometimes you have to go back and forth and try in different numbers. So we're gonna start at 45, and that's a little bit too much, but we're really gonna emphasize the effect right now, and I want to make sure that you guys see the difference of before and after. So I'll go at 45 pixels and I'll press OK. All right, so we got that. Wait for it, and you notice how that's the way it's gonna look. I'm gonna turn off this layer so I can see my low layer. Okay, so let me see. Next thing we want to do is grab our lasso tool. And with the lasso tool, what we're looking at is all these areas of highlights where it changes in, like from shadow to highlight, from highlight to a different type of highlight. Okay, so we're kind of just trying to blend these in together so it won't look too, you won't see too much difference in in the tones. Okay, so to do that, we're gonna go to the Lasso Tool, and we're gonna have our feathering at 25 pixels, or you can do 20 pixels for this image. Okay, and I'll start off with this area here. You notice how it goes from really dark to really bright highlight. So I'm gonna select this area here, just like that. And since it does have feathering, gonna have a gradual selection. So we're gonna go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. We're gonna apply that and just increase it slightly. I would say about 10 pixels. It's about good right there. Okay, and we're gonna do Control F on your keyboard or Command F on the Mac. There we go. And we just apply it 2 or 3 times. So anywhere you see those changing, we kind of smooth it out even more. And I'm applying it. I'm doing Command F or Control F every time I select with my Lasso tool. Or if you have the patience to do it, you can go up to Filter, Gaussian Blur, and reapply this effect, this filter. Just kind of blending everything together. Right about there. So almost completely blurred out, but we're gonna bring back the detail in just a second. So just so you see the progress, this is before and this is after, using dust and particles, and then applying the Gaussian blur and the highlights right here. This line here is very defined. Let me erase that. Right there. So that looks about right. Okay. All right, so here we go. So now the next thing to do is we're gonna go to our high layer, and by this time we're done with our low layer. You don't have to touch it anymore. So we're gonna go to our high layer. We're gonna turn it back on. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to use only the skin texture to be applied on this layer. So it's a few different steps that you have to follow, but you guys have already done all of these in different assignments. But anyway, so let's go here to layer. Go to image, apply image. You're gonna go to invert. Make sure I check invert. You're gonna do add over here, and you're gonna make sure you do source. Let me see, layer low. Okay, now another thing that I forgot to mention is that we have to make sure that we are in 16-bit format. For this technique, we have to be in 16-bit format. So most images are normally under 8-bit format. So I'm gonna press cancel there, and I'm gonna switch this to 16-bit. Okay, so you go to image mode and you switch it from 8 to 16. Okay, so we got that going on, and you'll notice here right on the tab it'll say the color mode, and it'll say how many bits you're working with. All right, so let's go back to that image, apply image. We're gonna click on invert. Okay, our layer is gonna be our low. Okay, because we are using the low layer to apply it to this, and we're gonna go to add on our blend mode. Okay, and the scale of 2. There we go. So scale 2, blending is add, layer is low, and make sure you click on invert. All right, After you do that, you can press play again. Okay. So now we can pretty much see. It looks totally. You can see it looks totally different than the actual original image, right? And the reason it's doing that is because this layer here, our high layer, is using a different technique, or using a different format where it's allowing us to only see the texture in the photo. So if you can see closely, you can zoom in, I can see all the texture there. All right, and from this point on, is for you have to start using your clone tool, which you already know how to use, or your spot healing brush tool, patch tool, or any of these retouch tools. Okay, I like using a lot of the clone stamp tool because it allows me to create, different areas of the image and replicate it where I need it the most. Okay, now we have all our texture here, and then we have the colors here. So low equals colors, and high equals texture. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna try to go fast here, using my clone tool to take away all the blemishes. And one trick that I learned how to do is to go back to here to my adjustments and apply a curve. Okay, apply a curve to see in detail all the blemishes of this photo. Okay, so I'm gonna bring down the darks as much as I can, all the way down. Okay, and then bring the highlights all the way up. So now you can really see, all the blemishes of his skin. And this will allow you to make better decisions when you're using the clone tool. All right, so I'm gonna start out with this huge wrinkle he has here. And I'm gonna copy maybe like this area here and just paint it on top. Oh, wait, what's going on here? Make sure, okay, one thing I just noticed right now, make sure you're not sampling all layers, sampling only current layer. Very important to do that. And there we go. And we're taking away all the wrinkles. And try your best not to create any patterns where it's noticeable that it's photoshopped. Now this is a mole. I normally wouldn't take it out, but let's pretend it's a pimple or a small little scar or something. This one right here, we're gonna have to remove it. Just get something like over here. Huge scar right there. So pretty much we're doing this to the whole image. So you can see Henry look, 10, 15 years younger.
Do you have...
Hold on, let me just pause this. I'm doing this tutorial.
Oh, that is so cool.
To finish this off, I'm gonna switch from my stamp tool. To my spot healing brush tool, and I'm just gonna go over some of the more blemishes that he has. And I can zoom in closely here. This area here, I kind of made a pattern, so I'm gonna take it away with the spot healing brush tool. Okay, there we go. And you guys already know how to use these tools, so one thing to just to review this tool here is it mostly works best when you have the hardness at 0%. So you can right click anywhere and just switch the hardness to 0%. All right. And then let's go over some of the areas that he has wrinkles or blemishes. And then I notice I'm going straight with the lines of the wrinkles. Let me see. And this could either take me an hour or two to do, or I can say we're done. And you'll see the final result in a second. Okay, so just to make this a little bit shorter, this tutorial a little bit shorter, I'm gonna leave it as is. And the last thing you wanna do to this is, we can turn off our curves layer off now because we don't need it anymore. We only needed it for the purpose of showing us where the blemishes are in detail. So we're gonna turn that off. Okay, now we have that here. We have this layer completely done of what we wanted to do. And make sure you have it, you switch it from normal to linear light. Okay, you're gonna switch that from normal to linear light. And once you do that, it'll apply it to the bottom layer. So it'll blend these two layers together and it'll give us, that effect. Okay, so this is how it looks before, and this is how it looks after. Before, after. There we go. So